All right. So welcome, Oldfield. Today is April 22nd, and it's Earth Day. And I wanted to start off with just a couple of thoughts. My calendar here for the 22nd of April says, why stay we on the earth unless to grow? So Earth Day, even though we think about our environment, plants, etc., thinking about growing and sustaining, maintaining, but why not think about ourselves as part of those beings on the earth? Why stay we on the earth unless to grow? And then another one of my calendars, it's a little more yogic, it's a little bit deeper, insightful, and it says, I have noticed that sometimes people speak of our planet as a thing. This attitude will not lead to the feelings of closeness and affection that would move us to take care of our earth. So think about that. So happy Earth Day. You're welcome to get your playlist on. All of your props really will be using a strap, maybe a blanket for cushion, maybe any type of pillow for support or propping. Your water or a little cup of morning joe or tea. And let's get started. So if you haven't been with me this week, I flipped my place in my bedroom. So now I'm just filming off a different wall for a little different perspective. So we're going to start seated, propping on the hips. We're going to have our feet wide, wider than our hips, and our knees and hips about a 90-degree angle. Placing the hands down for support. We're going to slowly let the knees rock. Pause. Inhale, spin on the heels, float both knees up, and then just gently drop them. Pause. Now's a great time if you want a little more spacing. You'll separate your feet a bit wider. Elbows can have a little softness. And it's here we start to feel the uprightness of our posture. We're not doing any tugging or forcing. We're just letting an easy spiral through the ball and socket joint of the hip, and then just letting gravity work its magic. We'll just try this one or two more times. Pressing those heels, lifting and spreading the toes. And let's spin one more time, letting those knees drop wherever they fall, taking a pause. And find that same shape, other side. Coming back up, we're going to take a seat. So this is a time if just sitting doesn't quite feel right, you can prop up onto a cushion, and you're going to sit however you want with your legs. It doesn't quite matter. And we're going to start to stir the pot, taking our focus up into our abdominal region. Inhale, moving the chest wall forward. And as you exhale, put a little tug on the belly and try to make the biggest, smoothest circle with your belly button. And then if you're inclined, your shoulders can start to add to the movement. We'll come back to center and try that other direction. Starting small. And then see if you can grow, right? Like our opening statement of why stay we on the earth unless to grow. So grow your circle. Shoulders may want to dance a little bit. All we're doing is just getting the blood flowing, the breath moving, the mind focus, and a synovial fluid to bathe over joints. And coming back center. Then take our feet out in front of us and just bend our knees, comfortable position. Hands will prop on our kneecaps. A little seated cat-cow. Inhale, lifting the breastbone. Exhale, pull belly in and broaden through the upper back. Inhale, upright spine. Squeeze the shoulder blades, giving a little press, a little support to the heart. And then broaden, you can even tuck your chin and just notice what that feels like. If your head and neck want to join in, allow that to happen. And wherever you are, let's try this one more time. A little back bend, spinal wave. And that same little back bend, spinal wave. Coming back to center. One more little opening movement, and then we'll begin the formal structure of our class. A flow. Fingertips may tent off to the side. And the hand's gonna lengthen and reach all the way up. Creating this little sunrise, sunset movement. Reaching, so the fingers are sparked and energized. And the hand is lengthening, reaching, lifting, lengthening. The arms start to get charged up. We'll try this 2 or 3 more times. You're going to take the movement pattern that makes the most sense in your body today. You may want to take a stretch a bit deeper, and maybe you know a variation that suits you better. You're going to do that. Always taking care of ourselves, honoring our bodies where we are today. And come back to center. Okay, so you should be warmed up, blood flowing a little bit, feeling a little bit more awake. Starting with our first movement pattern, we're gonna unlock and release any tension real or perceived around the collar. Inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Just the weight of the skull. Let's see if you can start to soften and create some space by pressing left shoulder down. That arm may float out to the side. That feels like it's a bit too much. Just place that hand back onto the thigh. Opportunity to stay right here. If not, just drop that thumb down and begin to wrap that hand behind you, grabbing onto clothing or tucking into your pants pocket. Shoulder melts. Fingers may interlace. And we're here for 3 breaths. So wherever you land, perfect. Create softness. We're not testing anything. We're not forcing anything. This is just our morning stretch. And the idea is to get that left shoulder to drop and the head to remain heavy. On your next exhalation, release. Some of you may even want to prop the head back up and then move through anything that feels a little rickety or rusty. And we'll try that on the other side. Inhale, sprout up. Exhale, left ear toward left shoulder. And you can stay here the entire time. Creating a little heaviness in the right shoulder. And if you're curious for a bit more, the arm may start to illuminate out. It's pretty energized. It's going to start giving you sensation all the way down into your fingertips. Thumb can turn down and you'll wrap that hand behind you, tucking into your pants pocket, clothing, or maybe even interlace your own fingers. It's going to depend on your shoulder flexibility and something as basic as your arm length. If you've got really long arms, this is an easy posture. Right, so don't worry about the end or the finished product. Just soft and coaxing right shoulder down. So from the ear all the way through, there's this nice smoothness. So in our gentle stretch, you are going to feel a little sensation, a mild tug, stretch, release, whatever term you want to call it. And that's all it is, just mild. And then we spend some time allowing the muscle to lengthen. One more breath. You can release your fingers. Left fingertips may assist that head back up. And then you can make any movement you'd like. One more cervical collar release. We'll keep the height of our neck and just drop our chin. Pause here. The chin doesn't have to touch the chest. To add a little more, just draw the shoulder blades back. And if this static or stationary place feels right, please stay. If not, begin to rock the head left and right. Right and left, just a nice easy half circle. And if you're moved to make a full circle with the neck, that's fine as well. Just letting the weight of the skull create this nice little smooth movement. You may start to hear some crunchy, crackly sounds. If there's just sounds, no worries. It's just your body saying thanks. One more time, just let that head create this luscious rock side to side. Chin back to chest, and we float it all the way back up. Coming up onto our knees, we'll be using our strap. We're gonna start moving down into the chest. This is one of my favorite exercises. I do it in almost all my classes most of the time. So you come onto your shins. If you need to pad your shins, you're going to do that now. You can certainly sit back down. You can certainly stand up. It doesn't quite matter. And I'm just going to tilt my screen so you can see me a tad better. There we go. So the strap, if you're shoulder injured, you may not use a strap. If you're not quite sure, hands are going to come out super wide, chest opener with a strap. Inhale, allow the strap to come up over the crown of the head. This is the posture. The tail will get heavy, a little tug of the abdominals. Some of you may venture all the way back. This is not necessary, it's just a visual. And on exhale, we'll release it all the way back down. So if that was really doable and you're looking for a little more excitement in your life, hands will come a little bit closer together. And here we go. So once you're in the position at the static place of just lifting the chest feels really good, stay here. For others, you may want to flow the strap and cape with some movement or motion. We're all creating that uppercase V in our arms. So our hands and arms are reaching up and out, not just up. So opening the front of the body that can get really tight from slouching or doing a lot of push-ups or lifting. This is also just a great energizing stretch. And it will certainly help with our posture. Okay, one more time, you're gonna come to your best position. Ideally the strap at least over the crown of the head, maybe back just a little bit, you choose. And then from here, start to dance from the midsection of the body. I like to call this kite flying. We're here for a good 3 to 5 breaths. Pressing the knuckles and the fingers out and up. Don't forget, we end our week with a Roll With It class on Friday. And that's a great class where we do some gentle stretching, but we use our tools such as a lacrosse ball or a rolling pin or even a wooden dowel to iron out our bodies. So if you're someone who's doing a lot of exercise and movement, these classes are wonderful for recovery and restoration of the body. Inhale, coming back to center, slowly releasing down. You can drop the strap and notice. Lots of energy in the upper extremities. Coming back down into a seat. This next one, draw the elbows and the hands together to actually touch. And that may take a little thought and effort. The movement's going to be really small. And for some of you, this may feel like a strength move, for others a stretch. You can also interlace your fingers, but the idea is to clasp the elbows and try to release any airlight or gap between the hands. So I'm just going to do this just for something different. I'm going to take my elbows at least shoulder height, and without losing the connection of right and left arm, I'm just going to float the elbows up and down. Elbows may just shift an inch or so. We're just here for a couple more. So our stretches try to mimic what we do during our daily life, which is something different. We try to do different movement patterns to support whatever you're doing. If you're out riding your bike, walking your dog, doing extra baking in the kitchen or whatever it is, we want to keep a connection to all body parts, all muscles, all joints, and apply all movements. Last one, and slowly release. And then just take a moment to flush that out. Moving now down into the midsection of the body, we're going to start with a twist. I'm going to give you a little option or variety, and it doesn't matter. My yogis, you know what to do. We're going to start with the right leg extended and the left knee bent. Then we're all going to sit up nice and tall in the spine, and you're either going to hug your forearm around the knee or hook the elbow. And then we all get up super tall. Left hand behind us as a kickstand, get super tall, and then start to spiral. So the elbow and knee will have a little bit of resistance toward one another. Crown of the head gets taller, and then you revolve the body. Keep breathing. If you're looking for a little bit deeper twist, just pull that left shoulder back more. Your gaze can follow you, it doesn't matter. One more huge breath in. Huge breath out. I won't forget the other side. We're going to grab whatever we can. Some of us are just going to grab our pant leg. Some of us will grab our knee. Some of us can grab our toes, and others will have to find a connection with the strap. It doesn't matter. But you're going to grab onto something, sit up tall, so we're engaging our core, and you're going to start to move that hip socket just a little bit. So anything that you're holding on to, and we call these cranks. So see if you can start to really crank your hip, making any movement, even pulling it back like a little bow and arrow, but letting that leg move. And if you think about the face of a clock, see if you can get that thigh, that left thigh, to tell time. Maybe 11:30, 2 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And release. And notice that energy. Okay, our twist on the other side. Left leg will lengthen out, right knee will draw up, foot lining up with the hip. Inhale, super tall. You can actually wrap forearm to the shin. That may be exactly what you wish. Or elbow up and over. Back hand is a kickstand like on an old style bike. Lift your spine and then start to spin. Pulling the right shoulder back and down. And once you're in your stretch, you just hold it, but keep breathing. You don't have to go deeper, although you're welcome to keep doing these little kind of microscopic movements to find the perfect release. Your gaze can look behind you. And then just one more breath. Coming back center. Whew. And we'll take that little hip crank to the other side. So this side may be a little bit easier, it may not be, we don't care, right? We don't have to give this leg a story or this hip a story. Just connect to whatever body part or clothing and start to crank open that hip. Yeah. Once again, anywhere you grab onto is perfect. Maybe it's two hands, but get that hip in motion and have a little bit of fun. Our hip will become a bit more mobile if our core can be a bit stronger and stabilize us. Once again, that clock face analogy may be really useful. See if you can tell time and make sure you're hitting all sides of the clock. 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and the 4s and the 8s and the 6s, 12 o'clock. One more, and release. Moving now into our low back, coming onto all fours. We're going to, if you need to pad your knees, grab that blanket and slide it underneath your knees for some cushion. We're going to be marrying a little cat-cow into a child's pose for yoga. So I've got my toes tucked under. That just feels good for me today. Some of you can press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, lovely arch, right? Compressing the back, stretching out the abdominals. Then we're gonna lift up and start to shift our hips back. And that should feel really good in the low back space. You're welcome to stay or come back, drop the belly, soften the shoulders, look up. Exhale, tent into that angry cat back and sink hips to heels. I'm just going to put mine in motion and give you the visual, and you're going to do whatever feels best. So sometimes people think a stiff low back is not a good thing. Sometimes stiff low backs mean you have strength in them, and sometimes our backs aren't strong enough, right? The human spine can be really tricky, and we want to make sure we've got ample mobility and stability. And our low back is one of the weakest links and chinks of the human body. And our backs are going to speak to us a lot. There's a lot of stuff that gets harbored here energetically and emotionally. So try not to label your back, right? Say, okay, backs, because mine's feeling a little stiff today, but it's because I did a lot of back work yesterday. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It just is. All right, one more time. You're going to stay right where you are. Keeping an energetic reach with those hands, and then we'll take several steps over to the right. And let that right hand get really long and then drop into that right shoulder. So my hips are still pretty high to take pressure off my knees. Once again, for anyone that feels like you need to support your knees, just throw that blanket or a cushion back there. But the idea is this lovely stretch all the way from the right hand down the latissimus dorsi, in the serratus anterior, breathing into the intercostals. And then we'll come up for air, send the hips back, and then walk both hands over to the right. Left hand incredibly long, and then we'll drop into that space. lowering the left shoulder. This stretch has got some good energy to it. Hips reaching back to actually add length. And then inhale, come back center, walk those hands back up. And notice how everything from above your belt line feels a little bit more awake. If you want to grab some water or a cup of coffee, you can do that. We're going to come on back and work on our lower extremities. Not that we really can segregate our body is all interconnected, but now we're going to focus from the neck all the way down. Yummy. All right. We're going to be on our knees for just a moment. So once again, if you need to pad those, you're going to do that. Taking your right leg and sending it forward. Then we're going to let our toes, our front toes, do the walking. We're going to let them crawl. And I'm going to slowly start to slide down until my fingers can touch on either side. Back leg is long. I'm going to soften the hips. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, pull back. Sending the hip back, and the knee will have some softness. And then we're just going to slide and glide into the hip flexor, that front of the hip, that you can stay here for as long as you would like. And then draw those hips back as you forward fold into the hamstring complex. So you can make this very flowy, full of movement, or you can just pause and be static. Both are fine. Focusing on the soft tissue of our bodies. So if you ever feel it in your knee joint here, just put a little bend. Right, our back is flat, so our knee may have to bend and soften to get a really healthy stretch into the hamstring. We're here for a couple more. You may say, hey, do my toes lift or stay? It doesn't matter. So your toes can lift, or they can stay tacked down the entire time. For anyone that's looking for maybe a little more, of course, as you come into your low lunge, maybe you take the hand support off. And then press back, sending the heart forward to deepen. We'll try this one more time. Just showing options. And then we're going to inhale and rise. Getting your leg back, you may have to physically kind of bring it back and then reset. We'll try that on the other side. So just for viewing purposes, I'm going to turn and new foot forward. And I'm going to let my toes walk out. So my toes and feet get to be part of the fun. And then as I start to stretch out, my fingers will come down and frame either side of the foot. And then I just soften the hips, taking the gaze out. And then at some point, drawing the hips back, folding down over the leg. Once again, it can be a nice little bend there. And this can be static. You can spend several breaths here or flow. You can get your thoughts to really focus on your body. So our body loves to be strong, hence our muscles class tomorrow. If you want to join me, you can start to accumulate all your goods for tomorrow's class, right? You can get some light weights. It can be something as basic as canned foods in your pantry, heavier resistive toys, cans of paint, big jugs of laundry detergent, or if you've got the good fortune of having your weighted equipment, tomorrow we'll play with our muscles. getting some strengthening. We forget the heart is a muscle and it likes to be strengthened, so we want to get our heart rates up. We'll have a chance to do that with our cardio blast this week. And our muscles love to be stretched to maintain their normal resting length, to make sure that we are mobile. Beautiful, a couple more in each direction. Once again, those toes can tap down the entire time, or the toes can lift up. Either one, whatever feels right. My toes are coming up today for some reason. Maybe I want a little Achilles stretch and that feels like it's hitting it. If you haven't up leveled and you're like, hey, where's that little lunge? You can. Just make sure you're finishing on a really good release that works for you. We'll return back to center, and once again, you can lift that leg up, swing back around. We're going to play with our hips. I like this as a little intermission, a little bouncing of my knees just to get some hydration, vibration, sensation, and taking care of really important joints. All right, a little inner thigh. Draw the arches of the feet together. So my yogis, you know this as Baddha Konasana. If sitting here just feels really cloggy in your posture, and you feel like you're kind of stuck here, dropping underneath with your cushion may be exactly what you need. And then you're going to decide if you want a really big diamond and slide those feet out, or if it feels better to give those feet a little tug inward. Grabbing onto the ankles, energizing the feet, spreading those toes, roll the shoulders back, breathe. Soften the knees. You're going to start to bring yourself forward. The elbows may start to brush the thighs out, not so much down. And we're here. You did it. So no need to lift the head, but we certainly don't want to drop it, right? We certainly don't want to have that heavy head tax the neck. So we're in what's called a neutral spine where everything is stacked. Allow your exhalation to soften. Elbows keep pressing out. Maybe there's a little downward motion now. We just don't want to surprise the muscles and have them rebel. Right? When we do something fast or jerky, when we try to stretch, the body isn't quite sure where the range of motion is, and we've got these reflexes that put a little tug back. We want to avoid that. We want to just go nice and easy. Inhale, rise all the way up. Once again, closing those thighs with the manual support of the hands, sliding it out and taking care of those knees. We're going to do one more access to the inner thigh. Some of you are going to want to repeat what we just did. Others will want to come into a wide straddle. Doesn't have to be super wide, but I'm going to take my legs out. And if I give my seat a little lift up, so I'm sitting more on my bones than the meaty or the fleshy part of my buttocks. This feels a tad better. Inhale. I'm going to stretch all the way up, and my hands are going to come down. Coaxing the chest forward. You're going to start to grow your stretch. Forearms may tap down. You may find yourself on a pillow, resting. To enhance the stretch, we just squeeze the shoulder blades together and straighten those legs. To come out of it, you're going to release a little bit, maybe put some softness in the knees. But wherever you are, you've got a few more breaths. If you want to venture forward, you can do that. Any variation that feels right to you. Taking one more breath. And draw yourself back up. Drawing the knees in. Taking a little tension off the inner thighs. And you can play with those knees as a little intermission while our friends catch up with us. Okay, the next one, we're going to come onto our backs. And this is going to be our figure 4. Coming onto our backs, and we're going to add a little fun to it. I'm just going to make sure that you can continue to see me on the camera. We're going to come down, rolling ourselves down. Head will come down flat. It's ideal to have the head flat on the earth. If that doesn't work, a small lift to your head is fine. We just want your head in line with your spine, all right? So get yourself set up. Taking the right leg, crossing it over. Hands reach through, going into your figure 4. Coaxing the thigh in. Energize your footprint, so from the toes maybe being relaxed and forgotten, see if you can charge them up. And then static or a little flow side to side. This is getting the outer structure of the hips. We're here for another breath or two. To enhance, you'll draw that thigh in closer to your chest. All right, if this is what's really serving you, stay. If not, keep your legs, but release your hands. Allow the legs. That top foot is going to come to the ground. Ta-da! Bottom hand is going to grab onto that ankle, and just your knee is going to press away. I'm not going to force it with my hand. My knee energetically is going to press away, and there is the joint capsule of that top hip. You're going to feel the structure. It's like saran wrap around the joint. I'm just going to breathe. You may feel a little tug down the outer part of your thigh. This may feel different than muscle stretch. So my hand to my ankle stabilizes. My knee now has the liberty just to relax open. Just one more breath. I'm going to release my hand off my ankle and bring both legs up to the sky and give it a little shake. So we're doing a lot of movements in between our stretches today. This is a good one. We're getting anything that is kind of stuck, any stagnant energy, circulation. We're just kind of improving all that. And we'll try that whole series other side. You're going to stay. I'm just going to turn for instructional purposes. New leg crosses over. This may be exactly where you need to stay and breathe, or the hands will reach through, drawing the thigh in, figure 4. Toes energized or spread. Notice how it feels. And maybe a gentle rock is exactly what this side needs. Couple more rocks side to side. Staying here is an option, or releasing your hands. Keep the legs, just let them roll so that top ankle touches down. Bottom hand grabs the ankle to stabilize, and the top knee all by itself presses away. And then we just stay and breathe. Noticing what that sensation feels like around the outer part of the hip, down the side shaft of the leg. But keeping a little tension there, right? Giving a little love to the connective tissue around the hip. One more breath. And we'll release our hands, roll back onto our backs, lift both legs, and shake it on out. From here, we're going to roll over onto our belly. I think I've got just 2 more stretches for you, and then we're going to end with a really nice relaxation, also known as meditation. So I think I've got 2 more stretches to kind of complete our body, and then we'll rest for a few moments together. For those of you who are newer to meditation, I'll talk you through it, but if nothing else, it's just a chance to rest. So with that said, we're going to come onto our belly and our strap. Here it is. Strap may be of use. So if you feel like your hand isn't going to grab your foot, this is a nice little connector. I'm going to give you a side vision coming down onto our bellies. Once we get into the stretch, forehead on forearms is ideal for the cervical spine. You're going to pick your favorite left leg, or whatever leg this is. I'm just going to call it left leg, even if it's a different leg, so I can stay connected with what I'm doing. And my left hand is going to grab onto my ankle, and if that's not even close, I'm going to lasso it. I'm going to squeeze my knees together and start to reach my right arm and right leg out in opposition, all the while pressing my hip down. I'm not pulling my foot in deeply. In fact, my foot can actually push against my hand, but I'm pressing my hips into the thigh. Excuse me, hips into the mat. Correction. For those of you looking for a little more fun, keep the right side of the body energized and maybe lift it up. Huge stretch. If you're not lifted, that forehead is tacked down. And release. Other side. So your forehead can come down. You can just pump that knee. That is fine. That's good enough for this side. Or you can start to lengthen. Right hand to right ankle, or maybe the strap. We squeeze our knees, press our hips into the mat, and start to flush out. This is a little baby back bend, which we love. Definitely a quadricep flusher. You're looking to charge up, lengthen the left hand away from the left foot, and then take that entire side of the body up. Foot cooking into hands. And release. Pressing those hands down and sliding back into your best place to neutralize and counter. The final stretch that I have is it's going to be a bind behind us. So excuse my back. We're going to take a seat. You can see me, yeah. All right. I'm going to roll those shoulders back and connect the hands. They may not connect. Maybe you grab onto clothing or your strap. Option to interlace the fingers. Cup or lock the fingers, cup or grab the wrists, cup or grab the elbows, or find any other shape. So whatever shape you have, upright the posture, spread the collarbones, and pull those shoulders back. And we're here the next 3 to 5 breaths. Soften the shoulders, soften the groins. Maybe your intention is all that there is to get those shoulders to roll back. Just think about it. Maybe you've got the action of drawing the hands closer together. Just add air. One more huge breath in. And slowly out and release. That is your morning stretch. I highly invite you to stay for the next 3 to 5 minutes to give this stretch the complete relaxation that you deserve. I'm going to call this meditation, but don't get too anxious about that if you don't meditate. This is just a chance to relax. So, ideally, in meditation, the spine has to be long and tall. That's sort of one of the sort of thoughts of meditation. However, to sit up nice and tall can be extremely taxing. So you have a couple of options. You can scoot back up against a wall, and that may help you. And you can sit however you wish. Or spine can also be tall, just like this, right? Good night. And you can come all the way down. My spine is tall, so this is not cheating. And this is a great time where my props may be of use to give maybe a little slack in the knees and softness to the low back. The blanket may be a nice covering. So I'm going to give you a few more moments to get yourself set up. So the prop, if you need a little prop behind your head to keep your neck in alignment, do that. Ideally, if you can lay flat and get your spine to be like a pearl necklace, dropping each vertebrae down, that is ideal. The bolster may be propping the knees to soften the low back. Trusting that you are now in your shape or form. If you're inclined, just close your eyes. And allow your mind to be extremely curious about the breath. You need to follow the breath in and out. Breath comes in through the nose and out through the nose. And as you breathe in, envision bringing in whatever you need: lightness, brightness, joy. And on your out breath, let go of anything that does not serve you or is an obstacle for you being authentic and real. Darkness, fear. Again, breathe in whatever those tangible objects or wonderful feelings are, draw them in. As you exhale, release. It can be something as basic as food or whatever it is. Release it out. Inhale, brightness. Exhale any habitual or negative pattern. Just begin to breathe. Breath is full in both directions. Without effort, stretch the breath a little bit longer. That breath, that life force. Continue the breath with a manifestation and releasing. Allow the shoulders to relax. Legs to become heavy. Face to lose all expression. For the next 5 to 6 breath cycles, continue your manifestation and releasing. Completing your last few breath cycles, drawing in joy, happiness, financial freedom, joy of play, whatever it is. And as you exhale, release any remaining doubts, fears, worries. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your next breath, keeping the eyes closed, just connect with body parts, making subtle movements. Be a gentle rock of the skull or a swallow. With your next in-breath, the movements may be a bit larger. If you're inclined to draw those thighs into your belly and give yourself a hug, do that. Some self-love on this Earth Day. Then rolling over onto either side and pressing yourself up. Seated. That's where our hands will come together in front of our heart center. We'll just finish this brief meditation with a final breath to seal our practice. Peace be with you. Thank you and namaste. So thank you for joining me with your morning stretch. I'll see some of you guys hopefully tomorrow. Enjoy your day. I'm going to stop the recording and allow you guys to chit chat if you'd like. I'll unmute you. But thank you so much.